Fucking just take a fucking knee.
This ends up on Pornhub. Sorry for your weird masturbation session.
What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to the show. Come on the heels of Super Bowl 54, or LIV, or LIV, as everybody called it. We're going to talk mostly about that. We'll talk a little bit about the XFL. So how do you guys want to, let's do this quarter by quarter, half by half, or do you just want to talk about the game itself? Well, I'm going to overrule you. We're going to go quarter by quarter.
I'd rather not see.
Huh? I know. I'd rather go half by half or quarter by quarter, because if you just start talking about the game, then you're jumping all over the place. Does that make sense? Okay. So first quarter started out, and the score at the end of the first quarter was it 3-0?
Mm-hmm.
So both teams pretty much were feeling each other out throughout the first half. But the first quarter, there really wasn't much going on. The San Francisco actually was putting drive. They're actually able to put some drives together. They were able to put a drive together in the first quarter. I don't think did. They end up kicking a field goal. Okay, they ended up kicking a field goal and made the score 3-0. And I think that was the end of the first quarter. I think Kansas City got the ball. They drove right down the field, and I think they scored a touchdown. Didn't they take the lead? Somebody
The
has
49ers.
no. After the 49ers kicked field goal. Just give me a second. I'll go to the recap. So, no, Kansas City actually scored a touchdown in the first quarter, made the score 7-3. I apologize. Robbie Gould kicked a 38-yard field goal, and then Patrick Mahomes had that rushing touchdown. They drove right back down the field and scored a touchdown on Kansas City. It was the first quarter, like I said, was feelers. It was a boring first quarter. I'm not gonna lie. It was slow starting. You could see Kansas City's game plan was run the ball and then throw it, which is not what they do. San Francisco was a mix and match. They were doing pretty decent. They were mixing. They were mixing the run and the pass. They were more pass happy in this game, which I said would be a mistake for them to be pass happy. So at the end of the first quarter, it was 7-3 Kansas City. Thoughts on the first quarter? Mm-hmm. Right. Bobbit? Yep. You back now? Nope. He turns into BB-8 for a hot minute. Um, I'll come back to Bobbit there. We get to the second quarter. Still pretty much both teams were getting out the feelers out there. There really was nobody was really going to run away with it. There in the first half, you could tell that was going to happen. Harrison Butker kicked a 31-yard field goal to give Kansas City a 10-3 lead. Kansas City was not finishing drives, really. Kansas City was trying to be too cute at certain points in the game. They did run a play that Eric Bieniemy studies football history, because they ran a play that was run in the 1940s, that play where everybody on the and that comes later in the game, but everybody trying to think of where it was. No, that wasn't it. Never mind. Was it Patrick Mahomes on that touchdown that they did that flippy where they fucking did that shift and it was really weird shift? But I don't think that's what it was. But Harrison Butker kicked a 31-yard field goal, and then San Francisco drove right down the field, scored a touchdown, and Jimmy Garoppolo passed to Kyle Juszczyk for a 15-yard touchdown pass, and they halftime it was 10-10. It was the feelers again. It was the whole half was entirely feelers. To be honest with you, I thought, which I don't mind, because they didn't play each other this year. If they would have played each other this year, they probably would have. They probably would have been a more open game, I think. Thoughts? Bobbit, are you back?
Turn the BB-8 again.
Okay. I ain't even going to talk about the halftime show. This is a football show, not a fucking halftime show. Okay, well, good for it, but I don't fucking care. We're not talking about fucking J-Lo and Shakira. I don't care. We're talking about fucking football. I don't care.
So glad I'm not trying to get one.
No, we didn't even watch the halftime show, really. Um, so yeah, I hated the halftime show. I'll get that out of the way. The commercials sucked. None of the commercials were any fucking good. I ain't gonna talk about any of that shit because none of them were any good. Not a fucking one. Not a fucking one was any good. None of them were. I sat here and I actually wanted to fall asleep during fucking commercials this year. It was ridiculous. Don't fucking at me. Anyway, yeah. So finally, the kickoff happened for the second half. Um, San Francisco. This is where it got interesting, because San Francisco dominated the third quarter. Just thoroughly dominated the third quarter. With 9:29 left to go in the third quarter, nope. San Francisco kicked a 42-yard field goal, making the score 13-10. And I think Patrick Mahomes. There is one mistake there.
Come here.
I will go back. We'll talk about individual performances. I forgot about the interception that Jimmy Garoppolo made in the first half that almost cost San Francisco early in the game. It could have been a lot fucking worse. And they only got a field goal. No, they did. They get it. No, they only got a field goal out of it, I think. But San Francisco took over the third quarter, and San Francisco picked off Patrick Mahomes on a play. And was that the play where he threw it right at the guy, or was that in the fourth quarter? Was that in the third quarter? Was that in the fourth quarter? Okay, so yeah, he Patrick Mahomes made a really bad decision. threw it right to the linebacker, and San Francisco drove right down the field, scored a touchdown. They took a 20-10 lead. Third quarter ended, and it got really interesting because everything that I was saying that needed to happen, and we talked about it at the top of the show, they can't. Jimmy Garoppolo should not outplay Patrick Mahomes. They have a good enough running game to not worry about having to put the ball in the hands of Jimmy Garoppolo. Here's my thinking. My thought process is Kyle Shanahan, towards the end of this game, in the fourth quarter, put the ball in the fucking hands of Jimmy Garoppolo. The last 4 drives of this game, they only had 57 fucking yards. That's bad. When you only have 57 yards. And you have probably one of the most potent running games in the NFL this year. And you don't run the ball in the fourth quarter. Which tells me he really wanted Jimmy Garoppolo to win the MVP. It reminded you a lot of Atlanta versus New England. Which in fact, Kyle Shanahan was the offensive coordinator for that game. That tells you a lot right there about his play calling. They better not do that. Thoughts on the third quarter? Bobbit?
Oh my God, Bobby, get off of the topic.
What? What? Mm-hmm. Yep. The fourth quarter happened. Again, Kyle Shanahan puts the ball in the hands of a guy that should not have had the ball put in his hands at all. He threw the ball 8 fucking times against Green Bay. 8 times. Kansas City has worse run defense than Green Bay does. Did you not fucking watch any fucking film from fucking Green Bay game? Are you a is Kyle Shanahan a fucking idiot? I'm literally asking this question because in no way, shape, or form should Kansas City have ever gotten back into this game. Not with the running game that fucking San Francisco has. What in the fuck are they smoking in between the third and the fourth quarter? There, but nobody could hear you. Yeah, for some reason. They should be able to hear you
Hello?
now. They should be able to hear you now. I'm sorry. They couldn't. That was the first time somebody said something. Um, the third and fourth quarter, somebody was smoking something in between the third and fourth quarter. Because for some odd reason, again, San Francisco decided to start throwing the ball instead of running it. Makes no sense to me whatsoever. None. So we get there. We get to Jimmy Garoppolo. Didn't he throw a pick in this game in the fourth quarter? Wasn't it?
Yes. Mhm.
I know
It
Patrick.
was like at the very, very, very end.
Okay, so San Francisco couldn't really. San Francisco was able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was doing a pretty good job of evading said pressure and getting outside the pocket. They changed their game plan in the fourth quarter. Green Bay set up perfectly how you beat, and they actually ran the same play against San Francisco that Green Bay did, Kansas City did, who has Devontae Adams is a dynamic receiver. I'm just going to say that now. But when you have team speed, and we were talking about that, when you have team speed like Kansas City does, you can't teach speed. And speed was really important in the fourth quarter for this game. Let's talk about the Kansas City actually. Let me see. Was that okay? So Patrick Mahomes passed to Travis Kelce for a 1-yard touchdown, and everybody's like, okay, we're back in it. San Francisco is still ahead by 3. All San Francisco has to do, and this is with 6 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the game. All San Francisco has to do is get a couple of first downs, run the ball, then throw it. If they have to. Only if they have to. On this particular drive, this next drive, they run the ball on first down, right? Didn't they run the ball on first down? Yes, they got 5 yards, first down. 5 yards on first down. Then they decide to be tricky and throw the ball on second down. DJ Jones or Chris Jones bats the ball down. It is now 3rd and 5, what does San Francisco have to do? Now they have to throw again. And that's when I think didn't he throw a pick or no, they had to punt. So
Yeah.
Kansas City gets the ball back. First down, they get, I think, a few yards. Second down, something happened. And then third down happened. And I can't remember exactly what happened. I think it was a false start it was a false start on Kansas City, and it was 3rd and 15. And right then and there, San Francisco had them. And then it happened. All Tyreek Hill did was ran a little, not even a slant and go. It was kind of like a cross and go. So when he came across and then cut right upfield. 3rd down, 15. Nobody within 20 fucking yards of Tyreek Hill. Completely changed the momentum of the game. They got down to the 5-yard line. Patrick Mahomes passed to Damian Williams for a 5-yard touchdown pass. Kansas City is now ahead 24-20. Now Jimmy Garoppolo has got to throw the ball. San Francisco has no option but to throw the ball. Now, up to this point, I want your guys' thoughts on what you were watching and what you were thinking. Now, Sarah, I know you watched it with me, but give me your thoughts on what you were seeing.
I just think that they lost their game plan. The 49ers did, and they didn't go with the run game, and they should have just continued to what was working for them.
Yep.
And that's on Kyle Shanahan. That's not even on Jimmy Garoppolo at this point.
It's not. Because I don't think it's not Jimmy Garoppolo's fault that Jimmy Garoppolo is not a very good. I shouldn't say he's not a very good quarterback, but I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't put the ball in his hands. Period.
No.
Line. You can't. He's not that quarterback. Bobbitt, what about you? What were you seeing? What were you thinking?
When that happened, me and Dad was like, "What the fuck are they doing?" Like, they had a perfectly good plan. Like, all they had to do was run it, because the running game was actually working against Kansas City.
It was.
But yet,
go ahead.
But yet they're trying to be this fucking cutesy, artsy, fartsy, fucking bullshit team that they shouldn't have been. They're giving away the.
You cut out again, Bobbitt. You're turned into BB-8.
Oh,
To say what you
but
said there
you
at the very
but
end.
you got my drift though.
Yeah, they turned into what? They turned into something that they're not. Is what you were
Oh,
trying to.
a
That's what
cutesy
you were trying.
artsy fartsy
But
bullshit
yeah,
team.
but you essentially said they turned into something that they're not, right?
Yeah, I said an artsy fartsy team.
Yes, something that they're not. They turned into something that they're not. Yes, that's what you mean. Artsy fartsy. People don't understand what artsy fartsy is. You gotta fucking give them in layman's terms. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Um.
they was trying to be something that they're not, basically.
Yes. No, they were trying to be something. There's no basically about it. But that point being is Kansas City won this game because Kyle Shanahan trying to get somebody an MVP that didn't need it. He didn't need the MVP. Jimmy Garoppolo is not the quarterback that is going to win you a Super Bowl. He's going to manage the game. That is what Jimmy Garoppolo, that's all Jimmy Garoppolo is good for. And I don't care. San Francisco 49ers fans can say, oh, you just don't like him because he plays for San Francisco. No. Jimmy Garoppolo cannot fucking win a game because he is nothing but a game manager. He's not going to go out there. Every now and then he might come out there and he might throw for 330 yards and 4 touchdowns. But that's because everybody's worried about the fucking run game. He's not a dynamic quarterback like a Patrick Mahomes. He's not a dynamic quarterback like an Aaron Rodgers. He's not a dynamic quarterback like a Tom Brady or a Peyton Manning. He's never ever gonna fucking be that quarterback. So stop trying to make him that, because he's not gonna be fucking Matt Ryan either, or Lamar Jackson. I tell you right now, if Lamar Jackson was playing for San Francisco, this game probably would have been over in the first fucking quarter. Because Lamar Jackson, the running lanes for San Francisco were fucking ridiculous. Just ridiculous. That was another problem. This is why Jimmy Garoppolo is not the quarterback to fucking win you games. He doesn't take off and run. He did take off and run one time, but come on. So Jimmy Garoppolo ended up throwing or did they punt? No, they ended up throwing a pick, I think. Or no, they ended up turning the ball over. I apologize. We're on downs because they went forward on fourth down, didn't get it, and then they ended up. Damian Williams got a 38-yard touchdown run on the very next play, and Kansas City ends up winning 31-20. Let's talk about individual performances, and well, actually, give me your guys' thoughts on the game itself as a whole.
I thought it was really good. I thought it was a good game.
It was one of the better Super Bowls that I have seen, as far as a story being told in the game itself. That's all I'm saying.
I agree.
So, Bobbit,
I
Bobbit,
thought it was a good game.
okay. Tale of two halves, tale of 4 quarters, actually. To be honest with you, it was a 4 quarter game. Each quarter had something different happen in it. Um, let's talk about individual performances. Who, in your mind, was player of the game? Bobbit?
That Damian dude
Damian
for
Williams?
Kansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
I 100% agree with you. Yes, Patrick Mahomes was clutch at the end, but come on. Damian Williams looked so good. He looked so good in this game. He he made plays when they needed to make plays. He had over 100 yards rushing or close to it, I think. He had some catches and some of the fucking moves that he made in this game got them yards. I have an issue with players sometimes trying to get more yards than what they should out of a play. But you got to remember, he had an open field. He wasn't surrounded by 7 guys like Travis Kelce was. All he had to do was fall forward with his 6'5", 260-pound frame, fall forward, get a first down. He was good. Keep the drive going. My issue with him is that was my issue with some of the plays that were made. The other issue, sorry, I'm getting excited. I did not have an issue with what Damian Williams did. He was on the sidelines. He did a spinorama because he had vision. He's seen the vision. Okay, there's nobody there. If I can just juke this guy one time, I can get the first down. He did it. He did it over and over and over again. He used his field vision. He looked like a Madden player with some of the shit that I seen him doing. Blew me away. I was so impressed with him, I had to give him my player of the game as well. I know Patrick Mahomes won the MVP, but my God, Damian Williams deserved it more than he did, in my opinion. Sarah?
I agree. Damian Williams for me, for sure.
Yeah, again, we all agree. It was just that way.
I think another guy that was really good was Sammy Watkins too.
We'll talk about this. I think Tyreek Hill actually played better than he did, but Sammy Watkins had a really big play and a really big moment, and I kind of talked about it earlier with Richard Sherman. We kind of talked about Devontae Adams. So I'm going to get to that because that very play, Green Bay did that in their game against Richard Sherman, and they beat him for a big play, which that led to another touchdown. So, yeah, it was mind-boggling. Kansas City is your Super Bowl champions. They're the Super Bowl champions for the first time in 50 years. As far as San Francisco, who is your performer of the day?
I give it to Kyle Juszczyk.
Yeah, I could see that. I would give it to Tevin Coleman as well after coming off of that fucking separated shoulder that he had against the Green Bay Packers.
He was good too.
Mostert had a decent game. But it was disappointing. I wasn't disappointed because I actually picked the Chiefs. Sarah switched her pick right before kickoff. I know Bobbitt picked the 49ers. It's all right. I mean, the 49ers were underdogs in this game going in, but it wasn't by a lot. So I'm not going to sit here and criticize anybody for picking whoever they picked because it could have gone either way. This game could have gone either way. So yeah, it's a good game. It was this year, for as far as football goes, was so weird. It started out. We had Andrew Luck retire a week before the season started because I think he's injury. He's fighting injuries his whole career, and for everybody to shit on him for retiring, you don't know what he's going through. Quit your fucking whining. Not my chair, not my problem. I wouldn't draft him as a quarterback anyway. Not in a fantasy. And people were bitching about it with the fantasy football thing. No. He wouldn't. He would be a backup for me. So yeah, I enjoyed this season. It was a really good season. Get your guys' thoughts, Sarah.
I thought it was a good season overall. Yeah, I'm not mad that he retired. Andrew Luck, he had to do what's best for him and his family. I get it. It's a sport, like it's a business.
Yeah. Bobbit?
That's how I take it.
Yep.
So
Yep. Bobbit, what about you?
I thought it was a good season. I just wish Carolina had a better season, and I'm gonna miss Luke Kuechly.
That's right. He retired at the end of the year too. It's you don't know what these guys are going through. So these guys take a pretty big beating. Take a pretty big beating. So it's pretty tough. I mean, look, what are you gonna do? Um,
and Vernon Davis announced his retirement too.
yeah. Well, these guys are getting old. That guy was getting old. He's like 37, 38.
Something like that. And then Greg Olson got cut by the Panthers.
Yep, and that's because they're going young. They're going young.
Which I get,
Mhm.
I get it.
So yeah, the downfall of the season again is the referees. They're just so I don't know, man. I've explained how I feel about them. They're there to do a job, and if they do it wrong, I there's a way to fix it. Send them back. Don't let them fucking, especially in important games, and they don't. They grade these guys all year. The refereeing crew that they had in this game, I thought did a pretty good job. There was a couple of fucking times where there was some questionable calls. I honestly, and I talking with somebody on Twitter about this, tweeting back and forth. I don't. I understand the philosophy if they've kept the flag in their pocket for 3 quarters. Don't throw the flag. I understand that. But if a hold is hold, then throw the flag. Don't keep it in your pocket. You're going to get criticized for throwing the flag either fucking way. If it's the right call, make the right call. Don't keep it in your pocket. There's a couple of times where they did do that. That's all I'm going to say about it. This was a pretty good ref game. They did not redeem themselves by any stretch of the imagination because they need to rethink the pass interference call. It is defined that if you impede the progress of somebody catching a fucking ball, what did you do? Just look at it?
He completely snubbed Forrest Gump.
Well, he should have. Just like a bitch. Anyway, so
That's funny.
so he. I'm so distracted because Nancy Pelosi looks like she's gonna fucking cry. She, um, the defined pass interference is impeding the progress of somebody catching the ball, keeping them away from catching the ball. It's not the way to do it. So I suggest that they redefine it. And if there is an impeded progress of catching the ball, which happened a few times and they never overturned it because it is now a reviewable play, if you aren't going to fucking overturn it, then don't fucking have it reviewed. That is why Kyle Shanahan didn't review a couple of plays because they don't overturn shit. These referees think that they're the fucking highlight of the fucking game, and they're not. Just
That
do.
Kittle was definitely pass interference.
He
He
extended.
pushed
It
off.
was the definition of pass interference. Is he extended his arms? He gave that perception of extending his arms to keep the defender away from him. That is pass interference. That defender has
Yep.
just as much right to the football as a fucking wide receiver does. So there you go. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about fucking George Kittle. That was pass interference. I don't care. They missed a face mask call on Jimmy Garoppolo. They missed a few calls, but they did a good job, I thought, as well as they could in a high stakes game like this. And usually the referees do a pretty good job in games like this. They usually have the best of the best. So I'm not gonna shit on it. But during the regular season, oh my God, take these guys back and explain. And they may understand the rules, but show them film saying, okay, yeah, this is pass interference, this is not. That's what they need to do. Don't keep the flag in your pocket if you don't think it is. Or if you think it is. If you have any doubt in your mind, either keep the flag in your pocket or throw the flag. If you think it's pass interference, throw the flag. It can be reviewed. That's all I'm going to say on that. Bobbit?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Sarah, you pretty much agreed.
Yeah, I think I just think that the officials need to, get retrained in a lot of things.
Right. All right, so that's the end of the NFL season, and now we move into the XFL season. We talked a little bit about the XFL, I think mid part of the season or towards the end of the season, where we actually talked about the rules. If you go to XFL.com, they actually have all of the rules in there. They have a website, they have the rules, they have a schedule. You can go and buy tickets. Um, so yeah. Um, here's a slate of games. We're gonna talk a little bit about it. I don't apparently the Seattle Dragons, they're gonna be a green and red color. Their uniforms are red and green. The Washington DC Defenders, they seem to probably be a red and white. The Los Angeles Wildcats, they're like an orange and maroon. The Houston Roughnecks are a red and blackish color, I think. It looks red and black or red and dark blue. The Tampa Bay Vipers are a green and gold. The New York Guardians look to be a black and a gray. The St. Louis Battlehawks are like a bluish and a white, and the Dallas Renegades look to be like a light blue or red and a black. The logos look pretty cool. The New York Guardians logo looks pretty cool. Dallas Renegades, I like their logo. The St. Louis has a pretty cool logo. Tampa Bay, they're all pretty cool. The Houston Roughnecks one looks like the old Houston Oilers logo. So I will say that. So are you guys? I know the first game is on Saturday, February 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and that is Seattle versus Washington. I'm probably going to check out one or two of those games. I'm probably going to watch some of them, just not all of them, because it looks like on Sunday there are two games going on at the same time. I'll probably catch games. We'll see. We'll see. Just so I can get a grasp on what this is all about. I know Bobbit you're pretty excited about this, aren't you? Bobbit?
I am. I'm excited to see how everything works, and yeah, go Battlehawks.
I'll never root for a St. Louis team ever. Never. I'm probably going to be going for the Tampa Bay Vipers just because there's more Packers and Badgers on that team. So yeah. Sarah, what about you?
I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be something different, type thing. And I'm with Bob, and I'm going with the Battlehawks. So
You all are fired. I'm just kidding. And when I say that, people, I'm just joking. I can't fire these guys. I don't pay them. They can just fucking leave. If I wanted to. I say that in not in haste. Okay, it's a joke. So let me see. The first game of the year is going to be the Seattle Dragons versus the Washington D.C. Defenders, and I'm thinking the team on the bottom is the home team. So I'm thinking it's Seattle at Washington. Now these are two teams that are on total opposite ends of the country. So who you got in this one? I don't know all the teams, but this is one of those things where you could probably just throw a team out there and hope and pray. We're just gonna do this for fun this year because we don't know who's on what team, and maybe next year if this works out, we'll actually do the same thing that we do with our other stuff. We'll probably actually do the picks for like the championship games in the playoffs, but so who you got? Seattle or DC? Sarah?
I'm going with the DC
Do
Defenders.
you know any of the players on this team?
Yeah, I know Cardell Jones. I know
Okay.
some of the players. So, and I like their coach, Pep Hamilton. So,
What about on Seattle? Do you know anything about them? Or no?
not too much.
Okay. Okay. Bobbit, who you going with?
I'm going Seattle.
I'm going DC. That's what I think of Seattle. I hate Seattle. I've been there. It's a shitty fucking city. Sorry, I don't care. The next game, the LA Wildcats are going up against the Houston Roughnecks. I'm sorry. Jesus. Bobbit, who you got?
I got the Wildcats.
Yeah?
Rare.
Oh, that's just so weird. Sarah, who you going with?
I'm going with the Roughnecks.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna go with the Roughnecks as well. Like I said, we're just picking on a whim. We don't know who's all where. The next game is the Tampa Bay Vipers versus the New York Guardians. I'm pretty sure New York's got a pretty good team because, well, it's New York. I'm gonna go with the Guardians. Even though the Vipers, I'm picking the Vipers. I'm really not. I don't have a favorite. I'm probably gonna be a bandwagon jumper. Sarah, who you got?
I'm gonna go with the Guardians.
Okay. Bobbit,
Randy Orton.
you gonna go with the Vipers, huh? Okay. And the final game. Now, actually, so the first game starts at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. The second game is on Fox at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Saturday. The third game is on Sunday at 2 p.m. and the final game is on at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. The first game is on the 2 o'clock game on Saturday is on ABC, and the LA Wildcats versus the Houston Roughnecks is on Fox. The Tampa Bay Vipers and the New York Guardians are on Fox at 2 p.m. on Sunday. And the last game that we're going to pick is on ESPN at 5 o'clock on February 9th. The St. Louis Battlehawks versus the Dallas Renegades. Who you got, Sarah?
I got the Battlehawks.
You're just winging this shit, aren't
No, I like the Battlehawks. I like their coach.
you? But do you really think they're going to win?
I'm just going out on the whim, I guess.
Okay, that's what I mean. Bobbit, what about you?
I'm going Battlehawks, bruh.
I fucking hate Dallas. I hate St. Louis. Fuck it. I'm gonna go with the Renegades. I'm never
They
picking.
have a good coach, so the Renegades do. Their coach is Bob Stoops.
That's why I'm going with the Renegades. Offensive genius. This game is all about the offense. You'll see some weird shit in this game. Trust me. You're gonna see 2 forward passes. You can see more than 1 forward pass in this game. Trust me. As long as it doesn't go past the line of scrimmage. You'll see what I mean. If the ball doesn't go past the line of scrimmage, and people, I can see it now. People are going to be like, Well, you can't do that. Yeah, they can if it's behind the line of scrimmage. Once it passes the line of scrimmage, you can't do it. So Nancy Pelosi just wants to shake her head. No. Look at this shit. This is so great. Well, of course she does, because she's an idiot. So there you go. We'll talk. I'll watch these games. We'll talk about it next week, because we'll be back again next week, Tuesday, discussing this stuff. You guys have anything else you'd like to add about the NFL season? About the NFL season? We'll talk more about the draft as it gets closer to.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to see what free agency is gonna do.
I'm not into free agency. It never
There was a
have
big
been.
blockbuster trade, by the way, in baseball just now.
Yeah.
Mookie Betts and David Price got traded to the Dodgers.
For what?
I'm not. They haven't done the full terms yet, so.
All right. Well, I guess the Dodgers are going to win 130 games this year. Jesus fucking Christ. Ridiculous. But anyway,
They still want to win the World Series somehow.
they won't. Because they're going to fucking have too many egos on one fucking team. So that being said, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank everybody for showing. I know it was a short show, but that's only because we only had one game to cover, and then we talked about the XFL and all that stuff. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank everybody for being here. Sarah, thank you for being here.
You're
Bobby,
welcome.
thank you for being here. I don't like Coop. I tried getting a hold of Coop, but it is what it is. It's no big deal. He's not required to be here, but I want to thank everybody for being here. Great season. We'll be back next year. We'll do this again next year, just because I love talking football. Just like Coop, I love talking football. So everybody enjoy the games this weekend. Yes, there's more football. Enjoy the games this weekend, and we'll talk about it. So if you want to see something different as far as football, let me know what everybody thought. Have a great night, everybody. Talk to you later.
You too.